Hey there, guys. All right, today we are back. Today we are back with some more geography. Now, this time Luxembourg, and look at that face Barbie is making. Perfect. Before we dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I would love it if you join the Discord and followed me over at Twitch, and check out the Kickstarter while it is still live. It is not gonna get funded, but I'm still gonna keep saying it because maybe something, a miracle will happen. Who knows? Woo! Anyways, Luxembourg. Let's dive in.
We are so lucky
Oh, god damn it, he's quiet again.
today because we are doing Luxembourg. Yeah!
Usually Barbs would get punched at this moment for making a bad pun, but the punching guy was not available at this time. I'll fill in. Even though this video is several years old.
Just make sure you don't call it Little Switzerland. Okay?
It's time to learn
Why is his
geography
audio-
Now! Hey everybody, I'm your host,
Why is his audio so unbalanced from the transition screens? Why do you, huh?
Barbs. I once had a conversation with a German guy and it kind of went like this. Hey, so what's interesting in Luxembourg? Like, what do people do when they go there? Like,
You can open up a bank account, it's pretty cool.
okay, anything else? Like, what else?
I mean, you could also leave, too.
No, but seriously, Luxembourg is kind of like this curiously distinct nation with a lot of mixed hybrid culture cues that have jumbled up to create what it is today. Oh, and it's like super small. You can drive across the entire nation in like 45 minutes. Let's find out where it is on the map now, shall we?
It's in Europe.
You know what's funny? I feel like we're kind of just playing copy and paste because we did Liechtenstein, another rich landlocked microstate tax haven, and now it's happening again. First of all, Luxembourg is a landlocked nation located in Western Europe, right along the tri-point of France, Germany, and Belgium. The country is only about 35 miles or 57 kilometers wide and 51 miles or 82 kilometers long, making it just barely under 1,000 square miles in area or 2,500 square kilometers. The country is made up of 12 cantons, with the capital of Luxembourg City located in the south, which also acts as one of the 3 capitals of the EU in addition to Brussels, Belgium, and Strasbourg, Germany. Luxembourg City also holds the European Court of Justice, the highest judicial authority in the EU. Out of the 12 main towns and cities, the largest ones after Luxembourg City are Esch-sur-Lazette and Differdange. The country has one main
How many
airport.
people? Tell me how many people.
Luxembourg City International, close to the capital, which is actually the 5th busiest cargo transporting airport in Europe, servicing 3 large shipping airlines, Cargolux, China Airlines Cargo, and Qatar Airways Cargo. Yeah, when you want to make quick cash, you gotta make yourself a transport hub with great international trade rates. You know what I'm talking about, Singapore. What can I say? Now, traditionally, the country is kind of divided into 2 main regions when it comes to populace. The Ösling, or Eislek, in the north, which has most of the higher hills and forests, and the flatter Gutland in the south, where about 85% of the population lives. Luxembourg actually used to be a lot larger in the past until 3 partitions happened from the French, Prussians, and finally the Belgians in the 1800s. To add insult to injury, they actually named their largest southern region touching Luxembourg the Luxembourg region. For such a small land area though, Luxembourg is incredibly compact with amazing ancient sites and landmarks and businesses. Over 100 castles, 75 of which were built in the Middle Ages. I mean, there's a reason why they were labeled the European capital of culture twice. Over 150 main banks and many companies like Skype, Amazon, Pepsi, JP Morgan, FedEx, and
Do people still use Skype? Ew.
IKEA have their European headquarters in Luxembourg. So yeah, this place knows how to
Wait a minute. IKEA's headquarters, a Swedish founded company. Sweden, a country in Europe. That's just fucked up, dude.
keep
Tax
busy with
havens,
commerce.
baby.
Speaking of which, some notable sites of interest might include the Luxembourg Catacombs, the old quarter of Luxembourg City, the National Museum of History and Art, the Bakken City casements and tunnels, the Mondorf-les-Bains, Clairvaux Castle and Abbey, Burdorf Rocks, Parc Mavillot, smaller castles like Beaufort, Hollenfels, Bourchid, La Rochette, and the Grand Ducal Palace of Luxembourg. Lots of stuff happening in such a small space. Speaking of which, let's jump into the landscape now. Luxembourg is sometimes referred to as the green heart of Europe. Speaking of which, they do kind of have the highest ecological footprint in the world. First of all, as mentioned before, the northern part of the country, or the Ösling Highlands, are part of the greater Ardennes hilly range that extends across South Belgium into Germany, with the tallest peak at only 560 meters, Neef Summit, just 1 meter taller than Bergplatz, which is often mistaken for the highest point, but it's not. Most of the country's 30% forest coverage can be found here and in the eastern Mullertal forest. From here, the important rivers, the Sur, Volz, and Alzette all join join up in the middle, whereas the largest body of water being the Upper Sur Lake Reservoir. However, the longest river is the Moselle, flowing along the border with Germany in the east. Whew. All right, technical facts out of the way. Let's see, some other things to note. Luxembourg only gets about 61 days of sunshine a year, so get your vitamin D supplements.
Amateur.
They have the highest consumption of wine per capita out of any country in Europe.
Damn.
Wrong. I challenge you to wine off Luxembourg. Fake. Fake Luxembourg. They also have the highest rate of car ownership at about 650 per thousand residents. The national animal is the goldcrest bird and the lion because Africa, right?
Actually, in ancient times, lions did naturally inhabit parts of southern Europe and Asia. However, today, due to human interaction and natural environment shifts, they're actually almost exclusively found in Africa.
Oh, Noah, thank goodness you're here, okay? Because I've been meaning to take a break from teaching these freaking annoying...
Oh, please. A Noah episode? Go.
Adorable subscribers of mine. I need a triple shot of espresso, okay? You know how the teleprompter works. The audience loves you, okay? Take it away.
Let's go.
You got it, dude. Historically, Luxembourg didn't really have too much going on prior to the 20th century, and it was...
His audio is balanced. Is loud enough. What is up with... are they sabotaging Barbie here? Is Barbie sabotaging himself? Like...
wasn't until huge iron ore deposits were found in the South Redlands that really kicked off their industry output. Today, the world's largest steel producer, ArcelorMittal, merged with the Indian Mittal Company, is headquartered in Luxembourg City and today produces nearly 100 million tons of steel annually. But steel isn't Luxembourg's financial trophy.
And his traps.
In fact, the industry has been in decline since the 70s. What really gave Luxembourg a boost was the financial and banking sectors. In 1929, they passed the holding law, which meant that corporate holding companies would be allowed to...
Why can't my teeth look like that good? I mean, on camera, actually, my teeth don't look bad. But, like, in person, they're not... I feel like they're not as good.
manage their subsidiaries in Luxembourg for incredibly low tax rates, some as low as 1%. Finally, in the late 90s and early 2000s, known as the golden age during the online business and tech boom in which they doubled their GDP per capita in only 5 years by a complex system of business and management deals. This, however, did lead to the subsequent Lux leaks in 2014, in which tax evasion techniques were released to the public from a team of accountants. This was a huge deal, which then led politicians calling for reforms all over the world.
Whew, cool. Thanks a lot, Noah.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
So anyway, some of the top dishes of the country might include things like fried potato pancakes, boiled pork meat with beans, human-shaped brioche pastries, and kachkais. Speaking of food, are you in the meat with beans, human-shaped brioche pastries, and
Is that like, what is that? It kind of looks like a cream? Like what's in Boston cream donuts. That's what that looks like to me.
kachkais. Speaking of food, are you in the mood for some Luxemburgers?
That one was bad.
Luxemburger, that's what you call somebody from this country. Luxembourgish is what you call the language and something from this country. Luxembourgeois is the French word for both, but the locals here call it Luxembourg. Remember in the Belgium episode, we talked about how Belgium is kind of like a
No, I don't remember anything from that far ago, Barbie. I'm not gonna lie.
mix between Dutch and French influences. Well, Luxembourg is like a mix between German and French, but don't exactly say that to them, even though they all literally speak German and French. We'll get to that in a bit, but first of all, the country has about 600,000 people and is the second richest country per capita after Qatar. The nation is about 56% native Luxembourger, whereas about 17% are actually Portuguese,
What?
7% French, and the rest are made up of a slew of other nations.
fuck are the
mostly
Portuguese
Europeans,
doing?
with a few Asians and Africans mixed in. They use the euro as their currency, they use the type C and F plug outlets, and they drive on the right side.
Hear that, Britain and the other wrong countries? The right side of the road, because it is correct. Right means correct. Unless we're talking about American politics. That's gonna piss off so many people, but I'm not wrong. Get fucking bent.
Of the road. Back to the language thing. Luxembourg is pretty much a trilingual nation. Every citizen learns German at age 6, French at age 7, and in high school the language switches from German to French. The citizens though usually all start off with the national language Luxembourgish, which is a Germanic language related to German, but do not call it a dialect of German. They hate it when you say that, even though the two are not that far off. I mean, you get some discrepancies like für wat versus warum, Klinik versus Krankenhaus, Pik versus Kugelschreiber, and the list goes on.
The fuck, Germany? The fuck? Why do you don't need words that long?
On. There's websites devoted to this, but overall the grammar and syntax are pretty intelligible. But it's definitely not a dialect. Overall, yeah, they learn English in school at around age 12, so in a sense, many people might actually be quadrilingual, but all administration and media are published mostly in French or German or Luxembourgish if you request it. And nowadays, Portuguese is spoken everywhere too, since nearly a fifth of their population is Portuguese. Luxembourg is also a hereditary constitutional monarchy with the last Grand Duchy in the world. What is a Grand Duchy?
I don't
Keith,
know.
explain.
It's like something to do with a duke and royalty, I think. It was under the Holy Roman Empire thing, and everyone was like, whoa, let's just make a big country instead. But Luxembourg was like, no way, I'm gonna stay the way I am.
Dude, Keith, that was actually a really accurately condensed summary.
Dude, it's like whatever, man, you know?
Wow.
Obviously.
Keith, it's Keith. Oh, Keith. Basically, Henry Grand Duke of Luxembourg has been reigning since 2000. He married Cuban-born Maria Teresa Mestre y Batista, had 5 children with her. His legislative duties are limited as a constitutional monarch. He can appoint the prime minister, ambassadors, dissolve the Chamber of Deputies. He's commander-in-chief of the rather small army of about 800. He also acts as a representative in diplomatic affairs. Him and his family also live in Berg Castle. Now, despite the influx of wealth over the years, they do have the largest external debt per capita, though, at around 3.5 million per citizen.
Damn.
So 3.5 million times 600,000 for the population. Whoa.
Yeah, but if your rate of fiscal growth exceeds that of your deficit percentage, your country is still categorically in the clear, technically.
Oh, okay, so they're still good then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's kind of why after all
I hate numbers. Numbers are stupid.
those Lux leaks, they were like, hey, let's follow the US and invest in space mining. That'll expand our portfolio. I swear, these episodes are becoming more and more like...
No, but here's the thing about space mining, though. Once we can fucking do it, theoretically speaking, once we can start mining asteroids, right, we don't even have to go that far out into space. We just got to hit the asteroid belt, right? Once we can start mining the asteroid belt, those... Now, of course, it doesn't have every single resource, but the resources that it has essentially would mean that, honestly, once we could mine it and the companies, it's going to be fucking capitalists going out there, once the companies start mining it, though, and they're able to, right, once they can, at first it's going to be very expensive, but once they can do it and bring the resources back, it's going to essentially pay for itself. And once they start doing that, theoretically speaking, the resources available in just on the asteroids would be enough to essentially eliminate need, like material need. The only thing that essentially, once we can start mining those asteroids, essentially the only thing that would need to be worked on is food. But because they're mining those resources and the wealth that they would have, the wealth that those asteroids hold, you know, it would essentially theoretically eliminate the issue of, I mean, technically the fucking billionaires have enough money, they have enough money themselves to end world hunger, right? The reason world hunger is a thing is because it is difficult to reach certain parts of the world because of infrastructure and things like that. Billionaires could afford that easily. There's the World Health Organization or whatever came up with a plan that would cost like $6 billion to fix it. Something like that. Fuck billionaires.
Like a consumer economics course. Culture-wise, Luxembourgers are quite unique in that they kind of have to coalesce 2 worlds of the French and German sides while maintaining their own native one. To varying degrees of devotion, about 87% claim to be at least part of the Roman Catholic Church. They're the last country to have the formal dancing procession celebrated on Wheat Tuesday, the day after Pentecost, in which 10,000 men, women, and children gather in Echternach, honoring the 7th century monk St. Wilfrid by doing a 1.5-kilometer hopping dance. Speaking of which,
Hopping for 1.5 kilometers? No, thank you.
History. This dude in 963 AD basically builds a fort. From there, Luxembourg City is developed. Wars over ownership with the Holy Roman Empire, Dutch, French, and even Spain was involved for some reason. 1939 independence, some drama with Belgians and Prussians. Both world wars invaded by Germany. 1950s is one of
You know what? Yeah, I don't think they really need to talk about Luxembourg and the HRE. So yeah, this is a good summary.
the founding members of ECSC, the predecessor to what would become the EU. 1980s, money starts really flowing in. 2000s, money really starts flowing in. 2014, Lux leaks, the space mining thing comes in, and here we are today. Some notable people of Luxembourgish descent might include
Again, going back to the space mining thing, obviously the theoreticals are an optimistic outlook, that people won't be greedy. But of course, knowing our humans and society and how it, and also the people that are wealthy enough to be able to afford the first ventures to mine space, billionaires statistically are known to have way less empathy than the average person. So yeah, yikes, cringe. So they would probably hoard the wealth, but they would also probably be the first trillionaire, I think. I think the first trillionaire is going to have to do with space. I mean, of course, if Bezos owned more of Amazon, he'd be the world's first trillionaire or something. Like if he owned more of the stock. But I think the first trillionaire on Earth is going to be the first person to begin mining asteroids in the asteroid belt. And once we have it, that's gonna be such a gloomy, bleak. Happy Luxembourg. Happy Luxembourg.
Jean-Claude Juncker, Josie Bartel, the Schleck brothers, Kim Kirkin, Charlie Gall, Giles Mueller, Edward Steichen, Georges Christian, Jimmy Zabello, and David Goldrake, and of course the
Never
noble
heard of
family of Luxembourg. Sweet, that just about does it for this segment. Let's move on to the last part, the...
Bum, bum, bum.
All across the world, you get places like Luxembourg, small yet powerful. And when you are a country like that, everything becomes kind of strategic for the very continuity of your existence. France and Germany are, of course, really close. They give their biggest business and trade with Luxembourg. The people can communicate perfectly fine. People cross the border to either work or shop in the country every day. Plus, alcohol and gas are usually cheaper. Portugal and to some extent Cabo Verde are close friends as they make the largest minority group in Luxembourg. Radio stations sometimes even play Portuguese music and broadcast to accommodate. Of course,
What is with Portugal? Why?
as part of Benelux, the Netherlands does great business and trade. They love stopping by and hanging out with their southern friends. However, most Luxembourgers I talked to have said Belgium is probably the best friend. Before the euro was introduced, they pegged their old currencies. They could even exchange them. And the Luxembourg military trains often in Belgium. On top of that, Grand Duke Henry's mom was Belgian, which makes him cousins with the current king of Belgium, King Philippe. In conclusion, it's really no surprise why Luxembourg was selected to be the host of one of Europe's capitals. It in itself is a melting pot of pan-Europeanism with a populace that prides itself on being versatile. Stay tuned. Madagascar is coming up next.
And that was Geography Now Luxembourg. This was a good episode. My rants included. It's gonna piss so many people off. I look forward to it. I'm not gonna read the comments at all. Yeah. No, I'll read them. I won't acknowledge anything though, or I'll laugh. I'll have fun laughing. I'm gonna have a great time reading the comments, man. This is gonna be great. I'm gonna have so much fun. Anyways, that was Geography Now Luxembourg. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.